Hey guys, Ranger here, and welcome back to another reaction and review. And this episode, this is to the 24th episode of MLP, which is Father Knows Best. I'm thinking this is a Spike-based episode because the first thumbnail showed Spike. And whenever I tested the video for the first 2 seconds, I saw Spike flying at you. So I'm thinking this is a Spike-centered episode. And it said Father Knows Best. I don't know. I'm wondering if maybe Spike actually tracks down his mom and dad. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know about the story, so let's delve into it because I'm curious about this. So let's delve into it and see. Starting video in 3, 2, 1, click.
Okay, Spike, now let's try a flip. Remember, 2 flaps, then straight up. Got it!
This is George of the jungle. Watch out for that tree.
You're doing great, Spike. Now let's see the big finish.
Oh, you probably don't want to do that. Do you have fire insurance? Told you. Yep, big finish, all right.
I don't know about big, but I am definitely finished.
Maybe I should get Rainbow Dash. She's the one who taught me advanced flying techniques.
No thanks. If I'm gonna mess up, I'd rather do it in front of you. I just don't understand why none of your advice is helping.
Because she's teaching you to fly like a pony instead of a dragon.
What's the difference?
Well, we don't have feathers for starters.
Okay. Really?
Wow! Thank
Was
you
that pirouette
so much!
necessary?
I
I think I pronounced that correctly.
Honestly, this is Dragon 101. Usually dragon parents teach this stuff.
Oh.
Spike, I've been thinking about our flying lesson.
Uh-huh.
I can't believe I overlooked something as simple as feathers. It's no wonder you were having trouble. I wish I had more dragonish knowledge to give you.
Yep.
Do you think being raised by ponies has affected you in other ways? Spike?
Did you say something, Twilight? Sorry, I'm just finishing up this thank you throw pillow for Smolder. And you know how I get when I'm in the embroidery zone.
Okay, so this is going to be the let's track down my folks and see how they are gimmick. Okay. Okay. I'm just kind of wondering. It's been 8 years. Why are we just doing it now? I mean, we've just always kind of seen Twilight as the kind of big sister, mother figure to Spike. I'm just kind of wondering why now focus on Spike's parents. I mean, it just kind of seems a little odd.
It's a pillow, but not for your head. Although it could be. It's a throw pillow. They're more casual. You can use them anywhere. You don't like it.
It's not that. It's just dragons don't really use pillows at all.
What?
Hey, what's that?
I don't know, but it's heading right for us!
It's a Bellfire bomb! Fallout Equestrian starting!
Okay, now I
Run!
feel you for the lesson.
That was actually headed for the Maripony research facility.
Hey there, young dragons. Name's Sledge. How are your tails shaking? Ooh.
Let me guess.
You all right?
Your Spike's dad.
What happened?
To what?
That's totally
I don't
me.
need to explain myself to a couple of baby
When was this?
dragons.
Your Spike's dad, aren't
Maybe
you?
not, but you're hurt and need help. So I'm taking you to Twilight's castle whether you like it or not.
Castle, eh?
Oh no. please don't tell me this is going to be
I'm
that
glad
gimmick
Spike
where
brought
the
you
guy
here,
decides to
Sludge.
take
I
advantage
understand
of
you
him,
made
pretending
quite
that
an
he's
impression
injured
in
to
town.
continue to get
Literally,
attention.
there's a hole in everything.
Well, I hope you're not expecting me to fix it.
It doesn't look like you're in much shape to do anything.
I'll manage. Dragons take care of themselves. I don't need help from a bunch of castle
Dude,
living
I got
ponies.
this set up with Prince Stickerford
Darling,
before.
don't
I
be
don't need it
careful.
from you.
I'm fine.
I can't watch.
Hairline
You're not
fracture.
the first stubborn dragon we've met, you know.
And sometimes, even dragons need help.
I promise.
He's gonna
My
take
friends and
advantage
I
of them,
will only
isn't
do
he?
enough to get you back on your claws.
He's going to take advantage of them, isn't he? Yep. He's going to take advantage of them. He's going to get used to the attention, he's going to become spoiled, and he's going to take them for everything that they've got. He won't do anything for himself, he'll expect them to rely on, to wait on him hand and foot, or claw and hoof. Really? Oh gosh! Well, that's one way to do it. Really? Really? Use your wings, lazy butt. Pinky knows what she's doing. Hey, Pinky, here's an idea. Really? Oh, he's actually flying! Okay, that's...
I know you
I'm still
had your
waiting for the gimmick.
reservations, but it's good to see you feeling better.
Thanks, I guess.
That's what friends are for, darling.
You're pretty lucky to have friends like these, kid.
Actually, I was orphaned as an egg, and Twilight raised me. So these ponies are more than my friends. They're my family.
We try our best, but sometimes I worry maybe Spike is...
Missing something deep down and dragonish.
Really? Wow, I can't tell you how glad I am to hear that.
Why in Equestria would you be glad to hear that?
I wasn't gonna say anything since your life seems so perfect, but I have a confession to make. Coming to Ponyville wasn't an accident. I was looking for you. Spike? I'm your father.
Sorry.
I should probably be more surprised.
Crashed in Ponyville on purpose?
Well, the crash part wasn't on purpose, but heading here was.
Yeah.
I've been searching everywhere for you, kid.
Did you ask in the Crystal Empire? I'm kinda well known there.
Actually, Spike's well known everywhere. Not a lot of dragons were hatched by the Princess of Friendship.
Mm-hmm.
You make it sound so simple. I wish you'd been there to help me search.
Well, I'll be honest. I called it as soon as I saw it.
can't believe it. I have so many questions.
Well,
That-
ask
might have-
away. Answering questions is what dads are for.
Wait a minute.
I guess my biggest question is simple. Why was I an orphaned egg?
And where's your mother?
You sure you don't want to ask something else? It's a lot of painful memories.
Okay, I was wrong. You're not his dad.
Your mother was the best dragon I'd ever met. The Dragon Lord even picked her to scout for the Great Migration, and even though she just laid your egg, we knew she'd have to go. But finding the migration route could take a lifetime, and you deserved a chance to know your mother. So I went looking for her, carried your egg to places no dragon or pony has ever been. Past Mount Eris, the abandoned home of the hippogriffs.
Ooh, did you visit Klooge Town?
You've been to Klooge
Yeah. Also,
Klooge
the
Town?
hippogriffs
I thought
returned to
it
Mount
was
Eris after we
Clug
helped them
Town.
defeat the Storm King.
Oh, well,
I thought it was
have you heard of the
Clugtown.
land of the scale collectors?
Uh-uh.
Because that's where your mother's trail finally led. to a prison world of dragon hunters, where I was forced to choose between surrendering myself or surrendering your egg. Of course, there was no way I was gonna sacrifice my boy, so they took me instead, and that's where I've been ever since.
Yeah, I'm not
Somewhere
buying it.
not even the Princess of Friendship has heard of.
Whoa.
I'm not buying it.
How did you know I was a boy?
Whatever happened to Spike's mom?
And how did the egg make it all the way back to Equestria by itself?
And to
I wish I
Celestia.
had all the answers.
You're not his dad.
Well, that's all in the past.
All right.
The only thing that
Okay.
matters now is
You're
that we're
not his
together,
dad.
and I'm gonna
The
make
question
up
now
for
is,
lost
what the
time.
freak are you doing here?
I hope you don't mind, but I have a list of all the things I always wanted to do with my dad.
Mind? Spike, my boy, with you by my side, I feel like we can do anything. What do
What
you
are
want
you
to do
up to?
first?
Well, I've kind of been working on the list for a long time.
Dude, you want to do all of this?
Oh, I mean, we don't have to.
If you think doing everything on this incredibly long list is gonna fill the hole where your dragonishness should be, then that is exactly what we're gonna do.
Okay, I'll be honest. We got a kind of a similar concept with Lightning Dust taking advantage of Scootaloo, playing her. Why are we getting a longer panned out concept of that here? How long? Wait. I think my biggest question right now is, who is this guy? What is he doing here? And what does he want?
I can't believe we got so many things done. But this is all my stuff. Is there anything you always wanted to do with me?
Not really.
Really?
Yeah,
dude,
I mean,
seriously?
I'm happy to do whatever you want. But if I had a castle like this, with all this stuff,
You're
I'd probably
taking advantage
just
of
lay
him.
around all day doing nothing like a real dragon.
You're not really
Like
Spike's
a real dragon?
dad.
Sure. I'm not surprised you don't know any better. Twilight basically raised you as a pony. You're barely a dragon at all.
Hey, Spike. How are things going with Sludge?
Honestly, I thought having him around
I think the
would make me
name is a
feel
good
more
reference to what he
dragonish,
is.
But I kind of feel less.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wish I could help.
Ah, shucks. I guess I shouldn't have said anything
How about you
about
lay off
being
the,
more pony than dragon. I just
crystals
wish we had
before
more
you
in
pop an
common.
artery?
Maybe you two can come up with ways to turn up Spike's, dragonishness.
You think that's something we can do?
You know what, son? I think it is.
I got a way to drive him off.
Spike,
Twilight.
I'm gonna teach you a thing or two about being a dragon. So listen up, my boy, because I'm only gonna say this once. Look at this castle where you live.
It's pretty sweet, right?
You can't be a dragon here.
I can't.
Look at these books up on the wall.
Hey, I just finished organizing those.
This treasure pile's not right, I fear. Trust me, I got you covered here. You see all this soft pony stuff you're surrounded with? This has got to be the first thing to go. Nothing about this place that's Dragon Den. There's too much fluff. All these fancy robes tossed in a pile. Take those goblets' dishes. Is that gold still not enough? Deponifying might just take a while. Sure, this place is grandiose.
That's cute.
To a dragon, it's just gross. Time we make the lot all disappear.
You just torched it, you stupid idiot! That's arson!
All these ponies, you're too close. You just can't be a dragon here. Good job, my boy. But this is still just the beginning. Each and every dragon has a swagger all his own. Watch and I'll show you what I mean. You can't move like this with so much stuff to weigh you down. A dragon always keeps it lean. Lose this. Oh, this is nice. Your life is soft, your scales are coiffed. These pillows, beds, and sheets are washed. A delight, but it's just not right what's underneath. Every dragon must be free. Look at you, then look at me. Since when do dragons brush their teeth? Ah, please. Sure, this place is grandiose, but to a dragon, it's just gross.
Okay, I like the wide angle lens shot that they just hit there. That was neat. Starlight!
Just grab it all and give to me. After that, then you'll be free. You just can't be a dragon here.
Ha! You're right. I feel better already.
See, what did I tell you? You're very lucky that I found you. Now go get me some more.
You got it. I'm gonna go get you all the cushy pony stuff I've got. Dad?
Great. Go get him, son. 'Cause this dragon just can't wait to live here.
You are taking advantage of them.
Spike?
Not in the
I
same
just
gimmick
thought
that
I'd
I
check to see if you
anticipated,
and
though.
Sludge had any luck turning up your dragonishness.
You're not really his
It's
dad.
hard not to feel
You
like
got
somehow I let you down all
pampered,
these years.
loved it, and decided to stay.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to barge in on you.
Oh my gosh, they went there!
Don't
Oh my
worry about
gosh,
it.
paint me like
Mi
one of your
castle
French
is
dragons.
su castle.
That was hilarious.
Right, well, I'll just get out of your way.
Scar for life! I can imagine fan
Spike,
art making
I'm
him
so
like,
sorry. My morning is
giving
not
him
going
something.
Well. What is all this? Why'd you leave the castle so early?
I wonder if
I
Twilight
didn't
has
I
like
spent the night outdoors
a
to
memory
get in touch
eraser
with my
spell.
dragon self.
She'll need it.
Outdoors?
Yeah, and Sludge asked me to bring him the best breakfast Ponyville has to offer so he can show me how a real dragon would eat it. See you
He's
later.
not your dad. He's a prick.
And that's why I thought we could use the map to...
Hey,
Really?
gang. Dad was just showing me how a real dragon would act in the throne room.
Dragons like to sprawl when they get their claws done. Now, if you'll all excuse me, it's time for my bath.
Isn't he the best?
No, he's the
I'm
worst.
not sure that's exactly the word I would use.
Spike, the bath isn't gonna fill itself, son.
Be right there, Dad.
I'm glad you're not spending the night outside again.
Oh, I am. I'm just
How about
looking
you just
for
have a
good
DNA
bedtime
test done?
story to read to my dad first.
It's nice that you have some pony to show you dragon culture. But are you sure that's what Sludge is doing?
What do you mean?
Well, taking over your room, making a mess of things.
That is dragon culture.
You never acted like that.
That's because you raised me. Now I finally have a chance to see how I'm supposed to be.
I don't
Okay.
think you're supposed to be any different than who you are.
Maybe
That's
you just don't
what-
like that I have a real parent now.
What? Oh my gosh, dude!
I'm glad Sludge is here. I just wish he wasn't such a...
Dragon? Of all ponies. I can't believe you would have a problem with that.
Oh,
Alright, dude, you just crossed over into Dickville.
what happened to you?
Just sleeping outside like we're meant to? It's not like dragons are supposed to live in castles.
I guess not. But I live in the school. Nothing says we have to live outside.
I'm so confused. It's been great having Sludge show me how to be a real
Dude,
dragon. The
Don't
Twilight
deviate
just
from
doesn't
your
get it.
natural personality. You were a good
What
guy.
do you mean?
She can't handle how good at being a dragon Sludge is. Maybe someday I'll be able to lay around doing nothing as well as he does.
What?
Well,
She's like-
not now, of course. I'm too busy
And now
bringing him
Smolder will
pony
help him
stuff
to
so he
see the
can show
light.
me what a dragon would do with it.
So, Sludge just lays around while you wait on him clawing tail? Dragons are rude and rebellious, but they aren't lazy lumps who take advantage of their kids.
Oh, I'm really confused.
Me too. Why don't you tell me everything Sludge said about being a dragon?
Yeah, ask a real
Hey,
expert.
What's going
Smolder.
on, son?
Twilight doesn't like having real dragons in the castle, so I told her we're moving out.
You what?
Spike!
He's
I
testing her.
found the perfect cave where you two can live. There aren't even any comfortable
They're
rooms
working
inside.
together.
That does sound perfect.
They're working
No,
together.
it doesn't. I mean, I'm not sure I fully demonstrated all the ways a dragon would live here.
But we're not gonna live here anymore, so it doesn't matter.
I love
It
that smirk
matters to
Smolder
me.
has.
I wanna make sure you have all the knowledge you need.
But I do. Dad, you've already shared so much. This bed is much too soft.
Really?
Just take that silk robe up. We can't be dragons living here.
Really?
Stop! I'm not your father.
What?
I just said that to get in on this sweet castle life.
Called it.
So, you pretended to be my dad?
Yeah.
Nah, don't look at me like that, kid. I did what any dragon would do.
Okay.
No, you didn't.
Hey, I saw an opportunity and I took it.
Yeah, you
That's
realize now you're
what
trespassing
dragons
on
do.
No,
private property,
it isn't.
right?
You know what? I don't need this. I'm out of here.
You're
If I live in
trespassing.
Pony Town,
Yeah.
I'm taking this pillow.
I can't believe I thought
Yeah, good luck, I put a
somebody
bomb
like
in it.
that could show
Kaboom.
me how to be anything.
It must be hard growing up not really knowing who you are.
That's the thing. I know exactly who I am. And how I got that way.
Twilight.
Twilight?
Cute.
Oh, hi. Where's your father?
He's gone. Turns out he wasn't what a real dragon should be after all. He also wasn't my real dad.
Oh, Spike. I'm so sorry.
Oh.
I'm the one who's sorry. You were just worried about me and I lost my temper. Sludge was just a great big phony.
I have to say, I'm not surprised. There's no way a dragon like that was related to you. But if you still want to search for your real family, I'd understand if you spent more time in the Dragonlands.
I don't think so. I already know who my real family is.
Oh, it's me, right?
Besides, there's no
Cute.
way I'm living without pillows.
Okay, this was a cute episode. I can't say that it was my most favorite. Obviously, one of my most favorite ones right now is The Sound of Silence. But yeah, this was a cute episode. And in a sense, there was a sense of predictability with it, with what this other dragon was trying to do. It set up a couple of different things, but it didn't exactly go in the direction that I anticipated that it would go in that exact way. It still arrived at that destination, but it took a different path to get there. So that was a welcome change. Basically the concept Spike was wondering who he was. He had been raised by ponies, and so he was wondering who was his family. Was he a dragon? Was he a pony? What? And so he decided to, he wanted to find out more about his family. But then suddenly, boom, out of nowhere, this one random dragon falls from the sky. And this kind of sets up a couple different things. Like, this guy, how the heck did he fall from the sky anyway? Like, freak, how the freaking heck did this guy fall from the sky? Twilight's been, 8 years we've watched this show. 2 or 3 years have passed in the 3 years have passed in the show's timeline, maybe 4. We've never seen a dragon just fall from the sky. And just boom, suddenly it happened? Okay, convenient plot device. Again, plot device, plot. That it was just convenient that it was just Smolder and Spike that just so happened to be there. But the gimmick that I realized that they were going to go with is this guy was going to take advantage of the others. He was going to take advantage of their good nature and hospitality. He was going to take advantage of that. And I've seen the gimmick play out before. Someone offers someone else some aid, some help, and they get pampered, and they don't want to depart from that. So they continue to play like they're injured, and it's a very slow process. However, this it was similar, but it did not go in that direction. No, the guy actually got out as soon as he realized. I mean, as soon as he was well enough, he was actually going to depart until he took up the opportunity to suddenly decide to play that he was Spike's dad. And so, yeah, this did go in a different way. It did go in a different direction. It was a similar setup in that he did not want to leave the castle. He was too much. He loved being pampered too much. So he was taking advantage of their hospitality. However, here's the thing. This guy did worse, I think. Yeah, actually, he did worse. Because this was a complete stranger. He trespassed on private property. He trespassed in someone's home. And he took advantage of a kid. He took advantage of a child. Misled them into thinking he was related to them. And he showed no concern, no remorse for his actions. He was lazy, manipulative, clearly didn't have a heart or a soul, and he took advantage of them just so he could live a pampered life. And he lied, manipulated, created a false story to try to make it sound like he was Spike's dad. And the other gimmick, of course, was this guy tried to tell Spike how a dragon should live, but he was trying to take advantage of that. And so, yeah. And the other gimmick that I thought they were going to go with is the concept of Spike wanting to learn more about his family, so he ventures out to try to find more about his family. They didn't actually go with that route. That was kind of a bit of a setup at first, but they didn't actually follow through with it. And to be honest, this episode in general, for me, kind of makes me think about the Washouts, which doesn't bring back exactly good memories for me. In that, yeah, I mean, 2 episodes quite close together, 2 episodes apart, where it basically says, oh, you can't trust people. Don't trust them. Everybody lies and manipulates. So, yeah. But again, this guy... Spike thought that how his father was talking to him. Spike thought that how his father was talking to him was how a dragon should act. However, this guy was just manipulating him, lying to him, so that he could pretty much kick Spike out, take Spike's place, and live a pampered life and be lazy as F. And it took Smolder, the one true dragon here, to actually tell Spike, dude, you're kind of messing up. Like, this is not you. Honestly, this particular segment, whenever they were trying to talk to this guy, I legit wondered here at this point, did Spike realize at this point that this was not his dad, and he and Smolder were just kind of playing along, playing off of each other with that? Or did Smolder actually know, but Spike still maybe hoped that this guy was his dad, or what? I don't know. But I'm thinking the latter, because... I'm thinking the latter because whenever Spike did find out this guy wasn't his dad, he was pretty shocked. He was pretty devastated about it. But it was actually interesting. I did actually admire the concept that Smolder was still there for Spike and showed sympathy to him. So, yeah, I mean, I know dragons are not exactly known for that, but it's really cool to see Smolder be different than that. And this was, honestly, a really good episode. This also kind of made me think about The Amazing World of Gumball, whenever Richard wanted to try to find his dad, but his dad was just a scumbag, and that's why his mom like created the lie that he went out to get milk and just never came home. So yeah, this kind of made me think about that. In that this is very interesting, and if you look about it, it's a very interesting setup here. Is that Spike was adopted? We don't know how that Spike's egg came into the possession of Celestia, or how, or that it was, I guess, fate that brought Twilight and Spike together. But Spike was able. Spike was not in his normal family, and this is actually relatable. Not for me, but I know other people can relate to it, and it's very true if you analyze it this way. There have been situations before whenever a child has been put into foster care because of a abusive or mean family, and they were raised in a good home. They were raised by good people who were a lot better parents to the child than what the real parents would have been. And that's the setup here. Twilight raised Spike. And even though Spike doesn't do things that a normal dragon does, and Spike's more used to pony-related things, he's happy. It's had a positive effect on his life. And you can imagine, I mean, we don't know about Spike's parents. We don't know what happened to them. And I don't think we'll ever know the truth. Likewise, I don't think we'll ever know the truth about Scootaloo's either. Or Applejacks. But I think in a way it's just more left up to speculation. And of course, if you look at it, there's different scenarios that you could analyze and say, maybe financial trouble. Maybe the dragons couldn't afford. Maybe they didn't want a child. Maybe the wife or girlfriend, whatever, became pregnant, didn't want the kid, so they decided, hand it over to adoption or something. Or something happened. They couldn't raise a child. There's different scenarios. If you apply a realistic, real life perspective into this, there's many different scenarios that could have occurred that would have caused this to play out the way that it did. But again, this guy was not Spike's father, of course, but it was an interesting look at how. I mean, and you had three different dragons here. You had Spike, who doesn't act like a dragon very much. You have Smolder, who is a dragon, and she knows about the dragon ways, but she's different than some other dragons as well. But she also embraces that culture. And then there's this other guy who was a dragon, but he didn't do what other dragons did either. He was lazy, he was a liar, he was manipulative, and he took advantage. And so, yeah, it was a very interesting setup here whenever you had three different dragons and each of them were different than what supposedly dragons were. But, again, it was a very interesting setup here because Spike wanted an actual parent figure. I mean, I don't know, he looks at Twilight as his family, but he's, I guess, not certain about calling Twilight mom or sister, or sis. He's not really certain about that, and it's understandable. Twilight has actually had a pretty big responsibility. I didn't really think about it until now, but thinking about that, Twilight has had a pretty big responsibility. I mean, that all this time in her life with raising Spike and raising a dragon. And helping him, teaching him, and now Twilight has matured. I mean, I know there's different theories about the characters' ages, but I myself look at the main six as being like all in their early 20s. And Spike, he's a dragon. He ages more slowly than the ponies do, and so that's why I guess we've seen art like in Fallout Equestria, Spike is older and larger, is because 200 years passed. Um, but it's interesting that here Twilight is really like the sister or the parent figure to Spike. And Spike wanted a dragon. And this is kind of interesting, and it was also kind of heartbreaking. It was actually heartbreaking because Spike wanted to try to find himself, and he didn't think that living with ponies, living a pony life was him. He was going by Spike wasn't looking at it the from the mental perspective. He was looking at it from the physical perspective of I'm a dragon. This is what I am. This is what I should do. He was looking at it like this is in my blood. This is what I'm supposed to do, and not it's my life. I make of it what I will. And that was how Spike learned. He learned to look at it from that perspective later on, in that he's not your normal dragon in that sense. He's an actual, I mean, he has a heart. He cares, and he likes doing things that other ponies do, and that's what it makes him happy. And he's kind, he has a good heart, he's thoughtful, he's caring, and that's who Spike is. And so he realized that family is those who care about you. It's not people whom you think that you should be with. It's people who actually care about you. Even if they're not blood, family, friends, the people that really care about you are the ones that you should be with. And he had to learn that through experience. He had to learn that through example there. That he had to figure that out on his own. And this was one of those scenarios where you can't tell someone something because they won't listen. Twilight tried to talk to Spike. I'm assuming Smolder tried to talk to Spike, but he wouldn't listen to reason. He wouldn't understand. He had to learn through example what was going on. And it was through that whenever he was able to realize. And Twilight asked him, we can still track down your parents, but Spike said no. He realized his family was those who care about him. And that's Twilight, the one who's always been there for him, the one who raised him. That's his family. And not someone who doesn't care about him. And so yeah, this was a very interesting story. And it's definitely not like something we've seen in MLP before in that sense. A guy manipulated Spike, made him think he was his dad, but he actually wasn't. Spike wanted to try to find out more about his family, to try to embrace more of the dragon culture, but he, in this process of doing so, he was deviating from the way that his personality was, and it was affecting him, it was affecting his look on things, and it was affecting those around him, like Twilight. And so, yeah, but this guy, they found out he was a dick, and showed him for what he was. Spike realized the mistake that he'd made, and realized his family was Twilight. And the life that he was used to living is the life that he should keep. He shouldn't try to be different from that because he's happy, and that's the life that he should keep. This was an interesting setup, and it's definitely not like something we've done before. I never really thought that they would actually do something where it touched upon the parents of Spike's parents, but this actually did, and we didn't actually get any closer to it. Like, it didn't put us any closer exactly, other than Twilight is Spike's parent. So yeah, but there's a couple of other things that I kind of want to go over with this episode, and I'm going to go more in depth about each of these things as I do. The first interesting thing that we got in the beginning of the episode was the fact that Twilight was actually trying to help Spike learn how to fly, because now he has wings. And this is kind of a switch from what we got in the beginning with Season 4, whenever Twilight was being taught how to use her wings. And Spike was trying to tell Twilight to use her wings to fly, but Twilight was still uncertain. She wasn't used to using them. And now the table has turned. Now Twilight is able to teach Spike. So yeah, the student has become the teacher. So that's an interesting switch. And I couldn't help it. The tree bit where Spike goes face first into the tree. Again, I thought of the George of the Jungle. I honestly did. That's why I said, George of the Jungle, watch out for that tree. Bam. And I couldn't help it. This particular segment where they look up to the sky, Smolder and Spike, and they're like, what is that? And then they see this giant ball of fire falling from the sky. Again, I thought of Fallout Equestria. I did. I thought of Fallout Equestria here. Like, this is a Bellfire bomb. This is a mega spell, which is now inbound to Ponyville. And this is what started Fallout Equestria. Like, this one was actually inbound for the Maripony military base. This was actually inbound to the Maripony military base. But, nope. Got a little bit off course. And now it's headed straight for Ponyville. Boom! This is the first missile that started. No, I'm sorry. This one was... I think this one right here was actually supposed to hit Cloudsdale, blow it out of the sky. I think this one was supposed to be the one that hit Cloudsdale and blew it out of the sky. But this one is actually now on its way to Ponyville. So yeah, this made me think about Fallout Equestria. And I gotta say, there's some really good textures with this dirt here. There's some really good textures with that. That's kind of shocking. I mean, look at this. This dirt texture is pretty good. I mean, it is really good. It's different. But, I still stand by my initial concept of convenience. Random dragon, out of nowhere, falls from the sky, in the same area, in the same district, in the same street, corner, Spike and Smolder. Convenient. I'm going to quote, actually, the Nostalgia Critic here. Timing! And again, is this Wendy Whistles back here? We have seen this girl twice now. She was in A Rock Hoof and a Hard Place. And now here she is in the background seeing the sky. Like, this is Wendy Whistles, I think, isn't it? This looks like Wendy Whistles. This looks like Wendy Whistles. But yeah, interesting to see her again there, too. And I couldn't help it. Whenever Pinky was pushing the cart and this guy was following her, I did. I didn't get a chance to say it. I was going to, and I might have even started to, but I was thinking, Pinky, please tell me there is like a cut in the rug and there is a pit beneath it, and you're just going to simply, because you're Pinky, you're going to go over it. Please tell me that you're going to lead this guy into a pit. That would have been hilarious. And like I said, this setup, whenever he reveals that he's Spike's father, yeah, there's a couple different things about this scene. First off, I called it the moment that I saw the guy. I said, that's Spike's father. Because it's just convenient. Timing! Just him just out of the sky, but like a mega spell. Boom. There. With Spike and Smolder. So yeah, it's just too convenient. And because of that, there wasn't as much a build-up for Spike's dad. So I wasn't surprised at it kind of felt a little silly here that all three of the characters here, okay, from their perspective I can understand it. But for me, it wasn't a surprise because again, it just conveniently placed plot device, and so yeah, it wasn't surprising. And there was no like big epic music that was playing during that scene either, so it just kind of didn't really build up to anything. Like, we didn't even get to see Twilight's direct reaction. I mean, there was nothing epic that was playing out here. There was nothing that could help to build onto that emotional moment. Twilight didn't look like completely shocked or like you're his dad. There was nothing there with that. It was just Applejack, Rainbow, and Fluttershy looking shocked, and then Pinky just conveniently inhaling deeply and then giving this little smirk right here. So yeah, yeah, there wasn't any build up to this, and it just seemed pretty weak for that particular scene. So I'm guessing that was intentional, because if this guy had to come out of nowhere and then they had to, then it would have seemed more earned. But considering the lackluster build of this guy just falling out of the sky and hanging around for a few days, yeah, it just kind of took away from the atmospheric build of that segment. Which I'm really guessing that that was intentional. Like, I'm not saying whatsoever, I do not want to say that the writing for this is weak. I don't want to say that, and I don't want to say that that scene was written weak. No, I'm guessing that that was intended to feel not as strong a build-up. It's because, like, you knew it was there. It's basically like you already know the punchline to the joke before somebody tells you. So you already know what the punchline is, so it's not as funny. But interestingly enough, we see one of these other characters walking in the background with what looks like neon lights. Ooh, bet Vinyl gonna be mad. And this art of Starlight and Twilight, this is cute. This is so cute. I love this. This is adorable. But this scene where this guy uses Spike to torch it, like, yo, this is arson. Alright, this is destruction of private property. This is arson. This is a felony. This is a felony offense. This will result in jail time, okay? He's trespassing. He's torching someone's home. Yeah. This guy could serve some pretty good jail time. If you're looking at it from a law perspective, this guy can face some really good jail time if they were to prosecute. I would so prosecute this guy. And I did enjoy, I said it, I really did enjoy this wide-angle lens shot that they did here with this hallway. You never hardly ever, I don't recall ever actually seeing a scene done like this that gave it a wide-angle lens shot. That's really good. I like that scene. And of course, we have Starlight trying to take a shower, or sorry, trying to take a bath. We have Starlight trying to take a bath, which is hilarious. Like, she's just trying to relax in a tub, and I think it's cool because she's got like the big shower cap on, and she gets thrown out of the window, and she has to use her magic to catch herself, which is comical. Like, this guy almost killed her. Like, this guy legit almost killed her by throwing her outside. He just didn't give a crap. Honestly, though, if I was Starlight, and obviously I'm not a female, but male or female, if I was trying to take a shower, and some doofus just threw me out a window in the tub, somebody gonna get a butt kicking. I can tell you that much right now. Somebody will be getting a butt kicking. Actually, more than that. I'll probably say this much. I give them a 5-second head start. If they can outrun a 45, they're doing good. If they can't, oh well. And this scene here, oh my gosh, this scene. Twilight walks in, thinking that this is Spike. This is supposed to be Spike's room. She thinks this is Spike. And then this guy just rolls over. Her eyes just shrink. And she realizes, what the crap is going on? Like, she looks at this guy and just like, oh my freaking gosh. And she's like, scarred for life. This guy is in a robe, and he just has the whole paint me like one of your French dragons poses. And Twilight's like, I can't unsee. Where's the bleach? Where's the freaking bleach? Starlight, give me the bleach! This is comical. I love this scene. It's not something you see often, but it's such a welcome deal because it's so comical. And Twilight even goes as far as to cover her eyes, like, oh my gosh, I'm scarred for life. Like, imagine if this was a mature show, then this girl would have just walked in on this larger, overweight guy naked, and she would have been scarred for life. That's pretty much the equivalent of what we got here. Like, you have this guy who's probably just wearing a robe, sleeping in the nude in the bed, And Twilight walks in and sees this, and she's like, this girl's scarred for life. And then it's scene 2, the guy stands up, Twilight turns around, and she's like, what the crap? Like, this guy, again, he's just wearing the robe. Like, this, I have to say, I'm with censors. First off, to the writer that did these scenes, thank you. You're thinking like me right now. Also, to the censors, thank you for letting it slip past. Thank you, because this is awesome. This is comical. But that face, like, oh my gosh, what did I just see? It's a great scene. It's comical, and it's just a hilarious scene. Twilight just backs out and slams the door, and probably begins to contemplate gouging her eyes out. I love this scene. I do. It's such a great scene. But this one particular scene here, of course, is, like I said, where Spike crossed over into Dickville. He thought that what this guy was teaching him, this guy was taking advantage of him. He was lying to him, and so Spike thought was what this guy was saying was how a dragon was supposed to be. But Twilight realized, and that's what she told Spike, I don't think this is how you're supposed to be. Because I didn't get a chance to say it during the scene, but what I was going to say during the scene was, it's a choice that you have to make. Do you want to be arrogant, stubborn? Do you want to be arrogant, lazy, a liar, a cheater, and a manipulative a-hole like this guy, or do you want to have a heart, be kind, be generous, be honest, like you are? You've got a choice to make. Which one do you want to choose? Twilight tells him, you're not supposed to be any different than who you are, because the way you are now, that is you. That you are Spike. This is who Spike is. This is the Spike that I raised, that I love. That's what Twilight was saying here. And this is essentially a child. This is a child looking at someone who's basically a foster parent and basically saying, you don't like it now that I have a real parent. And it showed it. My gosh, again, I love what the animators did here, because they show the visual impact. They show Twilight's heart shattering during this scene. And this was heartbreaking. Not just for Twilight, but for me as well. Because that look of shock on Twilight's face, at that having someone whom, like a baby brother, a son, look at her and say, you're not my parent. This guy's my father. Maybe you're just upset because now I have a real parent. That's basically saying, what am I, chopped liver? So yeah, it's understandable for Twilight. And, if you were a parent, birth or adoptive, and a child said that to you, you'd want to bitch smack that child up one side of the wall and down the other. I'm not going to lie. And it hurt. That visual representation of Twilight, her heart just shattering in her chest. That hurt. It broke her heart. We also actually see an interesting structure with the Pegasi. With the alicorn, with the overall structure of the pony, the bone structure within them. We see they have a little bit of a tailbone in the back. We see the bones in the wings. We see a bit of the rib cage, and a bit of what looks like neck collarbones. It looks like, possibly, with a bit of the neck bones as well. And this look of shock, this look of hurt on Twilight's face. She's biting her lip. She's ready to break. And she's trying to hold back. She wipes her eye, and she rubs her arm, and her ears go down, and her heart has just shattered. And this is someone that she thought of maybe as a son, definitely as a little brother, that just told her this. It's understandable that Twilight would be devastated to hear that. And this particular scene here was also cute and interesting. Whenever Spike comes back to apologize, Twilight sees him enter the room, and her expression of like curiosity about it, and she blinks, and we also, and this little scene, it's cute, but it's subtle, but it's also interesting how whenever she blinks, her eyes shrink. Like there's a bit of a shrink with her eyes. It's cute. It's a little feature, but it's cute. And of course, Twilight, she is the very I mean, she is the very representation of someone that really cares about you, family or friend. She's a visual representation because she harbored no grudge for Spike. The moment that she found out that this guy had been lying to him, she didn't hesitate. It also broke her heart to find out that Spike had been used, and she didn't hesitate. Like, she immediately flew towards him and embraced him and told him that she was sorry that he had went through that. Like, even though what he's told her broke her heart, she was still there for him. She was still there. She embraced him, and she told him she's sorry for what he had to go through. What more can you say about this? Love does not hold a grudge. I'm going to read what made me think about this. What I said about love doesn't hold a grudge. It made me think about 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4 through 8. Love is patient, love is kind, love does not envy, is not boastful, is not arrogant, is not rude, is not self-seeking, is not irritable, and does not keep a record of wrongs. Love finds no joy in unrighteousness, but rejoices in the truth. It bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. Now that was the Christian Standard Bible version of that, going by the New King James Version. Again, 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 4 through 8, or verse 4. Love suffers long and is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not parade itself. It is not arrogant, does not behave rudely, does not seek its own, is not provoked, thinks no evil, does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in the truth, bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, and endures all things. And that is what I thought of here. Twilight, like this made me think about 1 Corinthians here, because Twilight, even though Spike said those hurtful things to her, Twilight was still there. She was still there to embrace him and let him know, I'm still here. I mean, even though it broke her heart what he said, it hurt her, I think, more to see Spike to go through what he did. That's love. And I gotta say, this was a beautiful moment. It really, truly was. It really was a sweet moment. And of course, Spike apologized. Spike apologized for what he said to Twilight, and basically, told her that that I need to stay with my family. And then whenever Spike made that mention about his family, and Twilight is like, it's me, right? That was very sweet. That was very cute, very sweet. But like I said, this was a good episode. Oh freaking heck! I did not mean to do that. This was a cute episode. It was sweet. It was a warm episode, and it was a very sweet. It was indeed a cute episode. That was a very. This was a very interesting episode. It was a cute episode. It was a heartwarming episode. It still wasn't my most favorite episode of season 8, or of the show in general, but it was still a good episode. But again, to the writers, to the animators, voice actors, thank you all so much for all the work and effort that you put into this episode. Thank you for the jokes and the gags as well. Thank you, love those. So again, and thank you all so much, and thank you again to everybody that watched. Hope you guys enjoyed, and hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video that I do. Take care.